Okay, like many things in life, including running, you can go at a very fast pace, but eventually there needs to be a bit of a rest. And that's exactly what's happening in the Calgary real estate market right now. The sky's not falling, it's not a reset, but things have slowed down a bit if you haven't noticed. And there are several reasons for that. Let's get into them right now. So if you give a damn about real estate, well, surprise, we're actually on the Glenmore Dam here in Calgary. Come over here for a second, take a look at exactly where we're at. A little ways down, not for the faint of heart, but a cool spot nonetheless to talk about what's happening here in Calgary. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Jeff Tincher, a real estate agent here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I have a vast network across this great nation and the rest of North America as well. And listen, if you like videos like this, you can check out more in the playlist, but most importantly, I'd love you to subscribe, throw a like, get into the conversation, and if you really want to take things further, there's a Calendly link below. Simply click on it, and I'll have a call with you. We can talk about all things real estate. And just before we get into it, a few things to point out. You might have noticed I got the Band-Aid on the schnoz here. I went to the dermatologist recently. This is your PSA to have any moles and skin stuff checked out regularly just in case. And you'll notice later in this video, I'm in the mobile studio. This is gone, but that's just because I recorded at different times. And just like that, and true to form in Calgary, there's a storm blowing in. So just before that, I'm gonna change out of the running duds into the business threads and hop into the mobile studio for the rest of this video. Yes, you get the car studio. I love using it. The audio's good and the lighting's good. It's a nice place to come to you on YouTube and fill you in on the latest with the Calgary market. So the latest stats show a few things. One, well, how much is my home worth, you ask? Well, right now, the benchmark price is hovering around just over $601,000. That's down slightly from August and July before it, but it's not a lot. And we're still up about 9% year over year. So if you were to rewind the clock and say, okay, well, what was my property worth last summer versus what it's worth now? 9% more is about the average that you could expect to have in equity, in property improvement value, and those kind of things. The second thing to consider is days on market has slowly crept up, and here we are at 27 on average days on market to sell your house. So imagine about 4 weeks now, where it used to be 3 weeks about a month ago, and then a month before that it was only 2 weeks, like it was on average around that 16 days on market. So yes, there's been that collective sigh of relief in the market, and people have been away, people have been busy with other things. They're hearing about what's happening in places like Vancouver, Toronto, and other markets in the world. So some of that activity has been put on hold. Some of it is based on what people have in their investment portfolio. So those kind of things are important to take into account as well. When it comes to the latest data, I feel like it's basically this collective sigh of relief. It's not the sky is falling. It's not that the Calgary market is suddenly going into this from a really hot seller's market and everything was great, if you want to call it that, not so much for buyers, to now, well, what's happening? What should we be worried about? Really, the answer is nothing. Things are cyclical. That's normal, especially for Calgary. And the fact that we've still got a lot of activity happening, yes, it's down from the month before and it's down a little bit year over year, but not a lot. And the fact that you've got some more new builds coming to the market, you've got some more properties. We've talked about this before, 700,000 range to 1.1 million. You've definitely got more that's come to the market. So people are taking their time more because they can. So not to panic, no reason to panic about that. This is normal. Things should pick up slightly in this fall session coming up, because typically in Calgary and surrounding area, we're talking Okotoks, Chestermere, Cochrane, and then of course Airdrie. Activity still happening there, absolutely. And now that we've got this interest rate change as well, the latest one from the Bank of Canada, you should see some of those buyers come back off the fence or come back to the table with some renewed borrowing power, but also with the juxtaposition of, at certain price points, they are going to take their time a bit more. And of course, on the luxury side, we still have people looking at luxury properties. In my mind, in my opinion, in the city and surrounding area, we're talking $900,000 and above. There's still, I don't want to say deals to be had, because that's not the right way to put it, but there are properties that are coming to market. I know personally several properties that have come to market in and around that 900,000 mark that have been snapped up like that because they were priced perfectly. There have certainly been other properties that were priced slightly north of that weren't as good, overvalued, that have been sitting, and eventually they do sell, but it's taking more time. So really the pricing strategy, especially if you're on the selling side, listen to your agent, talk to the people and the financial people that you trust, and really if you want a quick and expedient sale, it's important still to price properly in this market. Hands down, I will lean on that as long as I can. As we move into the fall market, expect, as I said, that things will be a little bit busier as they tend to be. The nice thing about now for sellers is if you're thinking about listing your property, you've still got the great foliage, there's still better weather, the curb appeal is certainly nicer, so now might be the better time to put your property on the market. Don't expect it to sell overnight unless, again, it's priced perfectly for this market and you're reaching out to the proper clientele that actually wants that property. On the flip side, as I usually say, don't expect that if it doesn't sell for a while, there's nothing wrong with the property. I feel like us as agents especially, and the public, because the perception from media and everything is to say, whoa, it took more longer than a week now or 2 weeks. What's wrong with the property? The answer is nothing, except maybe the price just isn't appropriate for the market. Yes, of course, it can be other factors, including the condition of the property, the appeal to buyers, and those kind of things. But if it takes a bit longer, don't panic. You might need to have to go through some price adjustments to get to where you need to go. But if you're priced right off the get-go, you should still have interest, and there are still active buyers in this market. Finally, with that interest rate change, it's nice to see. Expect that there may be a few more. Lean on your mortgage, your trusted mortgage advisor, especially for the best info on that. Certainly the economists are going to weigh in. What I find frustrating about the economists is they blanket all of Canada. Calgary, for the longest time, has not been, yes, it's been part of Canada, I get that, but we've bucked the trend, or we haven't fit in. We're like the odd person out sitting up against the wall at the dance that you think you know about, and you're blanketing everybody the same way, but maybe we're just on the wall because we're taking a break. Calgary isn't always the same as what's happening in the other provinces and the other cities. So it's important to consider that when you consider our economy here and our housing market. Expect that things will continue to go steady. I think that's a great way of saying it. Have this relaxation moment, however long it is. Watch what interest rates do and make that decision based on what you can financially afford. As always, these are my thoughts, not yours, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment, get into the conversation. I'd love to know what you have to say. Thanks so much for tuning in.